Welcome back to another FPL video. This will be the transfer tips for Blank Gameweek 29, where we only have 4 fixtures and 8 teams involved. I'll be covering all the things you can do if you aren't using the free hit, but you can also use it in terms of ideas for players to buy on your free hit if you wish. There will be a dedicated free hit team video, so be sure to check that out. My team selection will also cover the free hit because I'm very likely to use it this week, and there's a lot more content headed your way for FPL and UCL Fantasy. So be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. RMS to get this video to the 200 likes. There's also a link to my Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and there are many more links for the FPL League, Draft Hound, and the Discord server. So be sure to check all of that out. On screen, you can see the most transferred in players at this point of the game week, and this video is recorded on the Monday morning before Chelsea versus Newcastle takes place. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. I made this list on Saturday. Going into the Sunday, I made all the graphics before the Aston Villa vs Spurs game took place. Maddison happened to score for the first time since Game Week 9 against Aston Villa in a 4-0 victory for Tottenham Hotspur. They were very impressive, and Aston Villa, I think, completely lost control of that game. But the main reason why I'm recommending buying Maddison is good 4 fixtures coming up, but he's got a great record against Fulham. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists in only 6 Premier League appearances, and he's never blanked at Craven Cottage in the Premier League. I really think Maddison could be a great option this week, even for the captaincy. He's got 4 goals and 9 assists for the season. He has been injured for a large part of this campaign, and his ownership is 12.1%, but that's easily going to shoot up to 20% and above, and the same goes for his price fairly soon. He's got 42 key passes, that's the main stat for him, 92 FPL points, and some other decent stats like 39 shots in only 17 games. His XG is over 4, and the same goes for the expected assist figure. So Maddison might not have the best underlying numbers you'll ever see, but they're decent considering the number of minutes he's played this season, and overall he's very efficient in terms of creativity and goal scoring. Even if you're only buying Jarrod Bowen for 1 week, I think it's well worth it against Aston Villa, who play this high line, and that could really fall into Jarrod Bowen's hands. And a bit similar to James Maddison, Bowen has a decent record against Aston Villa. He has 3 goals and 1 assist in 7 Premier League appearances and 5 goals and 1 assist in 11 games across all competitions, including the Championship against the Villains. So I think Jarrod Bowen could do really well in Game Week 29. And if I'm making a list of 5 essential players, so to speak, that you want to cover on the free hit or with your non-free hit teams, I think Son, Maddison, Toney, Watkins and Bowen would be that 5. I'm not so interested in the defenders per se, but the midfielders and forward line is what will get the bulk of the points, especially this week, and I think Jarrod Bowen is a great option, even against Newcastle away and Tottenham at home, and then some good fixtures afterwards for West Ham. I think Bowen could be a hold in the long term, but I think what a lot of people will do is buy him for Game Week 29 and then sell Jarrod Bowen for Mohamed Salah in Game Week 30. I definitely wouldn't discourage you from doing that. I think that's a great plan, but I'm just saying Jarrod Bowen is potentially a hold for some people if you can't get to a Salah, Son or Saka, for example. Bowen's ownership is just under 25%, but that's easily going to surpass that. 14 goals and 3 assists. He scored a hat-trick against Brentford a couple of weeks ago, followed up with an assist against Everton. He did blank against Burnley, and West Ham were very disappointing in that game. I'm not sure why Kudus had his assists removed. I was asked that a lot during the reaction stream. But 18 big chances is really impressive. He's got 147 FPL points, and Jarrod Bowen is a very solid option in the heart of the midfield. He's also got 65 shots in 27 appearances. His XG is 9.45, so there's a lot to like with Jarrod Bowen. He's the best West Ham asset to cover in Blank Gameweek 29. Then I'd put Kudus in second place. Areola is probably third because he's the best goalkeeper in FPL in terms of value. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about all of the classifications during this video, but I think Jarrod Bowen is a buy. From an FPL perspective, Ivan Toney has been incredibly disappointing in recent weeks. That's 4 blanks in a row. I feel he played fairly well against Arsenal. He had a great effort denied by Ramsdale, and he was a nuisance for Saliba and Gabriel. But ultimately, I think Toney was dealt with, and he's been very underwhelming. Even his underlying stats aren't particularly great by his high standards, which he set last season, and up until his suspension, he was even better than Watkins, and only Erling Haaland was better than Ivan Toney amongst forwards. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist, and 9 big chances in 9 appearances, 39 FPL points, and also an XG of 3.13, which is very underwhelming considering he's played 9 games, 25 shots overall, and 15 shots inside the box. So they're not bad numbers, to be fair, but I'm expecting more from Toney in terms of FPL points, underlying numbers, and everything you can consider when buying an FPL asset. But what I like most about him is that fixture in Game Week 29 against Burnley away, and from Game Week 32 until the end of the season, Brentford have good games coming up, and that's where Toney would be the best option to buy amongst forwards. For me, Ivan Toney is a buy right now, and he has been very underwhelming recently, but I'm backing him to end his goal-scoring drought against Burnley. The last time I covered Saka, it was a completely different story regarding Arsenal and Saka. They had 2 wins in 8 games across all competitions. Saka was also blanking repeatedly, even against Crystal Palace. He got an assist, but it wasn't given in FPL terms, and a lot of people said he's a sell. But he had Nottingham Forest up next at the time. I said he's a hold, and ever since he's been an incredible FPL asset. He scored the most points of any player amongst all positions, but now he's got a blank in Game Week 29. He faces Man City away in Game Week 30, but I think Saka is a season-long hold. From Game Week 31 until the end, I think Saka is one of the best options you can have in FPL. But of course, some of you might have this luxury of selling Saka to Jarrod Bowen this week or James Maddison, and you can then reverse the transfer in Game Week 31. I actually don't mind that. That's a decent plan. Of course, booking in transfers could be an issue, and you always get these injuries popping up or suspensions. Something happens in FPL which changes your thinking, but I think Saka is just a hold. I'd happily bench him this week and against Man City in Game Week 30, and then start him every single game week from 31 until the end of the season. His underlying numbers are now ridiculous. Of course, 13 goals and 10 assists is supported by the XGI of 20.58, 178 FPL points, and his ownership is still very high, 63.8%, but it is going down. Some people are selling Saka. He's one of the most sold players this week, as you'll see at the end of this video. But for me, Saka is a hold. The same goes for Cole Palmer. He's going to be sold by quite a significant number of FPL managers because of the blank this week, but the fixtures afterwards for Chelsea are incredible, and they're set to have 2 double game weeks later in the season, potentially in Game Week 35 and 37. I think Cole Palmer could even be a good triple captaincy opportunity in one of those double game weeks. His ownership is 33.4%, 10 goals and 8 FPL assists for the season. His XGI is 13.41, and he started this campaign at 5 million in terms of price. Absolutely ridiculous. He's been one of the best FPL gems in quite a long time. 129 FPL points, and he's got Newcastle tonight where he could easily add to that tally. So Cole Palmer for me is a very easy hold. I even prefer him over Gordon and all other budget midfielders. So if you can help it, just keep Palmer on your bench in Game Week 29 and start him from Game Week 30 and beyond. Reguilon missed out in double Game Week 28 against Arsenal due to an injury, a hamstring tear, and Thomas Frank was quite optimistic after the game, and he said Sergio has a minor hamstring injury. He should be available for Burnley, so that seems very positive. So on the free hit, or if you have Reguilon already, it looks quite promising. But if you don't have Reguilon and you're looking to buy a defender, just wait for more updates just in case, because there's still a chance that Reguilon doesn't feature or he's not ready to start the game from the beginning. But I think he will be available. It's absolutely fine. And if you are going to be priced out, I can understand why sometimes you want to make early transfers. But in terms of chasing price changes, these rises and falls, I think it's a bit late in the season for that. Of course, you can always build more value, but I wouldn't be that set on building this team value now. I think information is more important, but Reguilon is a decent FPL asset. The problem is Brentford have been quite poor defensively, and their overall run is shambolic. They're not getting enough victories on the board, and they're in the thick of it in terms of a relegation battle, but their fixtures are very good. I talked about this in relation to Ivan Toney earlier in this video. Reguilon is priced at 4.4 million. He's a mega differential at this moment in time with 2.5% ownership, 3 assists. His expected assist figure is also 1.3, 2 big chances created, 14 chances created overall, and 40 FPL points, which is 1 more than Toney, in fact. But Reguilon for me is a hold, and if he's all cleared to play in Game Week 29, he would actually become a purchase for Game Week 29 specifically, as he'd be one of the best defenders for this blank. I covered Richarlison in last week's video, and I talked about holding him, just waiting for more information, but after Ange Postecoglou's press conference on Friday, it seemed quite definitive that Richarlison would be unavailable once again for that clash against Aston Villa. And wait for more information, of course, because you never know. Richarlison could actually be telling the truth, and he could be available for Game Week 29 against Fulham. But now looking back on it, it seems like Richarlison was pretty much talking himself into being called up for Brazil at the end of the month, and that's why he was very bullish to the Brazilian media, speaking to ESPN Brazil. He's priced at 7 million. His ownership is now very low, at 4.5%. He's got 10 goals and 3 assists for the season, 15 big chances, and over 100 FPL points. But if you want Spurs players, I think Son, Maddison and Pedro Porro are the 3 best ones you can go for. Then Udogie would be the 4th best. But with Richarlison, it looks like he's a sell. He won't be available for Gameweek 29, and we'll probably see him return for Luton Town at home in Gameweek 30. Next up is Charlie Taylor, and of course in this blank game week you need everyone you can go for, even if they're probably going to give you 1 or 2 points like Charlie Taylor will inevitably do. And of course, if you aren't in this luxury position of having wildcarded in Game Week 28 and you already have 10, 11 players, then Taylor is going to be a hold for this game week. But in the long term, I think Taylor is a very easy sell. I know he's only 4 million, but you can easily find better value at a similar price. And just pushing a little bit higher, you can go for a Branthwaite or much better options that'll keep more clean sheets, get more FPL points, and also potentially bonus points and attacking returns. Charlie Taylor has 1 goal and 1 assist for the season. He's a mega differential with 3.7% ownership, 4 big chances created, and 36 FPL points. But Burnley are shocking defensively. I don't trust any other assets whatsoever. I'm trying to think of someone, and honestly, I really wouldn't back any of them in this blank game week. I know Brentford haven't been particularly great, and Burnley could end up scoring, but in terms of clean sheet chances and all these defender options, I wouldn't go anywhere near them. So if you aren't in this luxury position, and of course you have Taylor already, hold him for Game Week 29, but sell him as soon as you can if possible, because there are much better budget defenders out there in FPL. Luka Dean started in Game Week 28 following his winner against Luton Town in the previous game week, but Alex Moreno did come on as a substitute around 57 minutes, but I would completely skip all Aston Villa defenders, including Alex Moreno, who's probably got the most attacking potential alongside Luka Dean, but you're going to see rotation between those two, depending on who starts in the Europa Conference League. That plays a part in who will start in Game Week 29 against West Ham away. But Alex Moreno is a mega differential. He's got 2 goals for the season, which is decent for a defender, but 0 assists. His XGI is 2.03, 37 FPL points, and 11 key passes. So the underlying numbers aren't great. Aston Villa are poor defensively, especially since Kamara's injury, and he's out for the entire season. And also, Aston Villa have poor fixtures from Game Week 31 onwards when they face Man City away at the Etihad. So for me, Alex Moreno is a skip. I might go for him on the free hit, but the only reason I would go for that is to have him sit on the bench. The 10th and final player covered today is Matty Cash. Now, with all these Aston Villa players, if you have them, of course, you want everyone you can get for this blank game week, but don't buy Matty Cash this week. That would be my main advice. I honestly don't see Aston Villa keeping a clean sheet against West Ham, and you could argue that across the board, who is going to keep a clean sheet this week? If you nail it down and get it spot on, you're probably on course for a green arrow. But Matty Cash, his last return came in Game Week 10 against Luton Town, and he still got booked in that game and gave 5 points. Ever since Game Week 10, Matty Cash has delivered 14 points in FPL. That just emphasizes how poor of an FPL asset he has been, with no attacking contributions, no clean sheets whatsoever, just huge disappointment week on week. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist, which all came in the first couple of game weeks of this season, and his underlying numbers are actually very impressive. His XGI is 6.67, he's got 57 FPL points, he's starting games week in, week out at this moment in time. It wouldn't surprise me if Cash dropped to the bench fairly soon, but whether he starts the game, he comes off the bench, or just stays on the bench, he's going to give you between 0 to 2 points every single game week. I don't think he's worth it. The only Aston Villa assets I consider holding or buying would be Watkins, Douglas Luiz, and Leon Bailey. I think everyone else is a huge skip at this moment in time. And there we have it, 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip out of Blank Gameweek 29. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree with my classifications? And are there any other players that you'd want covered in future videos or in the comment section of this one? You can see the most transferred out players on screen. Kieran Trippier is top and by some distance, and you've also got some of the players I've covered in there like Saka and Palmer, and I've covered them, and also other assets like Foden in recent transfer tips videos as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's get this video to over 200 likes, and let's keep on pushing towards 23k subscribers and beyond. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, for all the latest FPL and UCL fantasy updates. Join the Discord server to be part of a great community. There's also the channel memberships and Patreon for early access to my videos, and a whole list of other perks like priority reply to comments during live streams and videos. There's the FPL League, a link to Draft Town, and much more. So be sure to check out the description and all the links in there. I wish you all the best of luck for Blank Gameweek 29 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.